Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Schaefer. Today we're going to be going through Variables and Patterns 1.2, Making Graphs. What I want you to do is take the time to pause the video and get down this important vocabulary preview. We're going to be going through, and these vocabulary terms are essential to making sure that you get a basic or proficient on this test. So we'll be using these terms throughout: variables, coordinate graph, x-axis, y-axis, scale, and coordinate pairs. So I would pause the video right now, get that down. When you are finished, just press play. Moving on. I can follow the 4 steps to create a coordinate graph with information on it. Again, that's our learning target, our I can statement. I can follow the 4 steps to create a coordinate graph with information on it. We see the first 3 steps right here. Identify the 2 variables. That would be time and number of jacks. Step 2 is select an axis to represent each variable. And time will almost always go on the x-axis. So if you ever have confusion, if you see some sort of a time there, minutes, hours, seconds, anything like that, that's almost always going to go on the x-axis. And if you remember from the terms that you just looked over, the vocab preview, the x-axis is that bottom of the graph. So it will go right there, time. So our other variable, number of jumping jacks, number of jacks, will go on the y-axis. Now the next part is step 3 is select a scale for each axis. This one we're going to have to look at the minimum and maximum for each of our variables. And we'll have to go back to that table. So I'll show you that table with all the information filled in. Our minimum for both of them is going to be 0. Obviously, we start at 0 for each one of these, and we make sure that we actually start the graph right down here with a big 0. But then our time goes up to 120. And what's nice about our time, it actually goes up by tens every single step. So we're actually going to go up by tens every single step. But we have to make sure that we go up to 120. For number of jacks, this one didn't, even when we looked at it, this one didn't go up by a certain pattern. So we're not going to be able to use any of these numbers in our scale. But the one thing that we will do is that we have to make sure that when we go from 0 up to the maximum, if we do go up by tens, that's what I think we will do, we have to go up to at least 130. Let me show you what would happen if, I'll fill out time, but let me show you what would happen if I wanted to go up by 5s on the number of jacks. All right, so I filled out my time. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out the number of jacks. And I'm going to go up by 5s. I know that this won't work out, but I just want to show you that this won't work out and what I'm going to do about it. If I look at the scale right now, I'm seeing that I'm only getting up to 65. I need to get much higher than that. For number of jacks, I already determined that I need to get up to 130 to make sure that all my data fits on there. So I'm going to erase all that. And then I'm going to actually go up by tens this time. So up here, I went up by tens for each one. So that's my scale for each axis. For the x, I went up by tens. For the y, I went up by tens. All right, let's look at step 4. Step 4 is actually where we plot the data on our graph. So we have a coordinate pair. And remember, the coordinate pair It's going to be an ordered pair of numbers used to locate a point on the graph, 10, 14. These are ordered pairs, the time and the number of jacks. So time, we go to 0, and we put a point at 0, 0. The next point, time 10, number of jacks is 14. Time 20, number of jacks is 28. Time 30, number of jacks was 41. Time 40 at 40 seconds, I did 52. So if you're having trouble following, 40 seconds up to where this is 52 about. That's how I'm getting those ordered pairs in the correct place. Why don't you take the time to try and fill out the rest of this? And then in about 10 seconds, you can press play, or whenever you're finished, you can press play and check your work. All right, so this is what your graph should look like. These are all the plotted points from this information right above here. And that's actually going to be essentially what the basics of this lesson are, being able to plot your data on a coordinate graph. Again, that's all we need to learn for today. If you do have any additional questions, write them down right now. We'll answer them in class. Have a great night.